Hi, I'm Natasha Perilla, a relationship builder who increases funds, partnerships, and networks. Welcome to Notes with Natasha, the podcast where I share my expertise and spotlight my friends' talents to help navigate job searches and entrepreneurship. This episode's guest is Leonard Kim. Leonard Kim is a renowned personal branding expert, co-founder of InfluenceTree, and the author of Ditch the Axe. Revealed the surprising power of the real you for greater success. Leonard's work has been featured in media, including Forbes Incorporated magazine and Entrepreneur. His TEDx talk, Why You Should Let Your Fears Guide You, has been internationally recognized by outlets such as Forbes Incorporated and Mashable. I give you Leonard Kim.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. It's We got some exciting topics to talk about, right?
Yes, we do. We do, especially about the jobs. Right now it's just really challenging for people to find work.
Hmm.
And then also, since they can't find out those jobs that they're looking for, they're going into entrepreneurship. And
Yeah.
that might also be a challenge. What are your thoughts about that?
So I think if we kind of look at the job climate overall, like job growth is way down. If we look at the statistics, it's been down month over month, and it's at one of the lowest points it's ever been. But should that derail people from applying for jobs? No. Should it discourage people? I mean, it's kind of hard to not be discouraged when it's harder and harder to get a job. And what's causing this? Is it AI? Is it something else? We don't really know exactly something that we could pinpoint it all on. We just know that it's becoming even harder to get a job now than it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. And because of that, what we have to kind of do is figure out a way to really stand out. And I think what we could think about is, let's say you're a job seeker right now and you're like, how do I stand out? A lot of people are using LinkedIn to apply for jobs. Would you agree?
Yes, they are.
Okay. So what a lot of people don't realize is when they submit something on like Easy Apply or something, they don't know what the other person is seeing on the other end. What they're actually seeing is a summary of that person's LinkedIn profile. So while a lot of people might be working heavily on their resume, but they might have skimped out on putting all that information into their LinkedIn. So that means not a lot of that's being captured the moment that application is being submitted. They also have a system that categorizes and helps push people to the top. And that's how LinkedIn kind of does it. They take that information on the out there that's on the public LinkedIn profile and help job seekers go out there and submit it. So then they're more qualified for that. So a lot of people might be working on that physical piece of paper, but they might be leaving that digital presence a little bit neglected, I would say. And if they're able to put more information into that, there's some ways that they could stand out and raise up higher in those rankings. But then you also have to consider there's other people out there who've heavily invested into their LinkedIn profiles and they're getting heavily noticed. So if you're sitting here and you're wondering how to get noticed, there's some things that you have to really think about. How am I going to stand out from the other applicants? So on the job recipient, on the recruiters and HR managers end, what they'll end up seeing is they'll end up seeing what your title is, and then the summary below that's kind of blurred out. It's picked up by the AI and everything to submit it into the application pool and have them see it as a good candidate. But what they see is that title. Now, a lot of people on that title field, what they'll do is they'll type just marketing director or CRM specialist or project manager. What I would suggest is moving your biggest accomplishment into your job title area so that they're able to see that accomplishment right away when you submit an application because no one else is doing it. No one else knows that's how the recruiters are seeing it. And if you're able to do that, that's one way you could stand out compared to all the other applicants.
That's great advice.
No,
Thank
thank
you
you.
for sharing that. And what about for our business owners? How should they stand out in order to find those clients?
So in today's age, we're competing with a lot of different things out there. We have AI that's extremely inexpensive for a lot of people to incorporate, which also comes with a lot of errors as well. We have outsourcing that is very cheap, but then if you pair it with AI, it could be pretty good. And then you have the the more professional services with people who built up a lot of skills over the years, trying to go out there and take their mark in the market as well. Now, some companies do have those large budgets that they've always had, but it's something that you have to kind of consider. One of the things that you have to really look at in today's economy is how do I not get fired? Like if you're trying to charge $50,000 a month, the
Mm,
likelihood of you getting fired nowadays is probably going to be pretty high because a lot of companies are looking at these cost reduction methods, right?
okay.
However, if you're charging something reasonable, like maybe something like a normal salary or a fraction of that salary, you have your way in and you could probably be able to land business and stick with it for a while. But then you also have to think about future proofing as well. As time goes by, we see that Meta is going out there and investing heavily in AI. My assumption is, why would a company want to go and invest heavily in AI? Because they see a company out there with 10 or 15 employees making $1 billion. And they're looking at the revenue per employee and they're like, okay, they're making this much, but I'm making only three times what I'm making per employee. So they're
Mm,
looking at ways to go out, cut costs because I mean, if we look at how America's built, we're built on publicly traded companies. And who's publicly traded companies built for? The shareholder. Everyone has a fiduciary duty to the shareholder. It's not to the employee, it's not to the customer, it's to the shareholder. And if you have a fiduciary duty to the shareholder, that means your whole job as a CEO or an executive is to figure out how the company to make more money and spend less money. And what's the biggest expense in a lot of these companies? It's going to be payroll.
yep.
So if you kind of think about that as the overall picture of everything, if you want to go in there and you want to earn a contract with this business, it's got to be flexible enough where it's not costing too much, it's unique enough, it's a way where you can build out loyalty. And you might not be able to get the same big deals that you used to. And if you do, maybe they're just using it temporarily, but you have to figure out a way to incorporate yourself into as many places as possible. When it comes to going out there and generating business, to go out there and grab attention, building a personal brand is one of the best ways to go out there and do it. Because let's say you're an expert project manager and you start showcasing yourself with those talents. Project management, that could be incorporated anywhere. You could be in aerospace, you could be in a food service company, you could do anything for project management and it's incorporatable anywhere. Same with product management. And a lot of these different specialties, if you really think about it, the specialty is universal. It goes anywhere. I can market anything, really. I mean, I just talked to a guy about carbon credits today. I'm like, well, I don't know carbon. Oh, I kind of know what it is, but yeah, I could do this. This is how many people are looking for this. Oh, there's demand for this. Oh, yeah, I could do this. There's no
Right.
demand for it. I'm like, I don't know what to do, but yeah, you could kind of incorporate yourself into anywhere. Like I worked in healthcare, I worked in finance, I worked in all these different industries. Did I have any experience when I first went in? No. But when people really see that you have those skills in a particular area and you're going out there and showcasing them, that's how they come in.
I love that, how you just said, I didn't have an experience in it, but I tried it anyway and it worked out.
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes it's better if you don't have an experience in a particular niche. Like for healthcare, I didn't really know any. I don't know if I know anything about health now, but
Okay.
like I'm not the go-to health expert. Like I'm like, wait, you have health and medicine stuff. I gotta figure all this stuff out. But when we kind of look at the results of everything, when I first started, the company was doing $900 million a year. Then it hit 925 million, then 950 million, then 975 million, then broke $1 billion in revenue. 25% year over year growth, which is kind of insane when you really think about it. That's over $250 million in revenue generated by the tactics that were kind of gone out there and implemented. Website traffic went up from about 90,000 page views a month to about 550,000. Fast forward to today, it's over at 800,000. And the media syndications that were set up 150 times in like Forbes, Time, Sporting News, Medical Daily, and all these other places. Doctors going out there and having their prestige recognized. Over 500 doctors being showcased, a new brand message, and all these different elements and all these different service lines for all these different services that were rendered at the hospital were now being promoted. And then all of a sudden, you have this halo effect taking off. But did I have any
Mhm.
experience with medicine? No, I don't
But you knew how to market
know.
it. Yep.
Yeah,
But you had the experience in the marketing.
yeah.
And that's what pushed it. That's
Exactly.
Your story is so great. And speaking of your story, you have a book out.
Yeah.
Tell us about the book.
So it's a book. It teaches you really how to go out there and build your personal brand. And I think what a lot of people struggle with is when, let's say I want to be a motivational speaker. I don't, but let's say I do, right?
Okay.
My natural instinct is to look at like someone like Tony Robbins and go, oh, he talks like this. He says these types of messages. I got to go out there and communicate in the exact same way to build a personal brand as a motivational
Mm,
speaker.
okay.
And you see this happen all the time in fitness influencers, with finance, everything. All these people copy people who've already been 10, 20 years into their journey, and they start trying to implement the playbook 10 to 20 years ahead
Mm,
when they're starting at day one. And it doesn't work. And they're like, why doesn't this work? It's because you're following someone else's formula. You don't know what they did in the first 90 days. You don't know what they did in the first year. You don't know what they did in the first 5 years. You're taking them at year 20 and incorporating what they're doing. And that's the reason it's not working. You have to start at ground point one. And a lot of people don't recognize this, but one of the most important things that really draw people in and get people to not only know, like, and trust you, but also fall in love with you is by going out there and recognizing that you have a bio, reading it, and really getting to know, like, and trust exactly who you are. Now, a lot of people might think a bio out there is something that's professionally cut, that just talks about their accolades and their great things that they've done in life. But I don't know if you've ever read something like that, you might have yawned. I might have yawned because it's like, oh, who's this person? Oh, they're kind of intimidating, and it
mm,
kind of makes it a little bit more off-putting and a lot puts a
right.
little tension in between everything. So what you have to do is you have to figure out ways to incorporate both the personal and the professional into things. So when we really think about a personal brand, there's three areas to really think about. It's a personal, it's a professional, and it's also like the hobbies and everything that you like to do for fun incorporated together. A lot of people, what they do is they fragment that off. They take that triangle, they split it into three, and they're like, "Oh, I'm just professional," and then they try to just build this professional brand. But does it work? Not really. But
Okay.
someone tries to do just personal. Does it work? Sometimes. But when you incorporate all the things together, it gives you a multifaceted approach. It shows you have dimensions. It shows you have layers. It shows you're an actual human being like we all
Right.
are. In regards to contacting me, the best way is by email. It's hello@leonardkim.com. I have a website at leonardkim.com as well. I'm on Twitter every now and then. You can find me there at Mr. Leonard Kim as well.
Oh yeah, his Twitter is great. That's where I found Leonard. I've been following him for like over 6 years or so, and I finally got the courage to say, "Hey, would you like to come on and give us some advice?" And he said, "Yes." He's a really nice guy, so don't be shy and reach out. But Leonard, thank you so much, and for everyone else, thank you for tuning in.
Thank you so much for having me, Natasha, and thank you everyone for joining in. It was a pleasure. Enjoy.